Any last words? Redfern almost whispers, the wizard convinced your party is about to be obliterated. Looking frantically around, you quickly note some sort of magical force field keeping you in place, so you don't even have a way to run for cover. Yes, it definitely looks like your luck has finally run out. This is absurd. Cartha suddenly cries out for all to hear, taking a bold stand. If this is how you treat your loyal heroes, then all of you should be ashamed. A bold statement. Let's do a charisma check on Cartha and see what happens. Needing a 15 or less from Cartha, a 3 was rolled. Success. While many of the truistics here immediately stand to their feet in protest and shock, a few actually seem to agree with Cartha, surprising you. Moments later, a black disk of crackling energy appears just above your heads, 30 feet in diameter and capable of descending on all of you. The sight of the disk quite ominous. Let's do a party intelligence check to see if anyone recognizes the spell about to be used against you. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 9 was rolled. Success. That is a disintegration spell meant for all of us, Redfern gasps, recognizing the magic. Behold, the means of our end. Wait, one moment. A powerful voice calls out from almost behind you. Turning, you quickly recognize Voxar standing a good 100 feet away, the truistic you encountered back in the Cyan Desert, seizing everyone's attention. 1,000 pardons, Enlightened One, the wizard calls out, bowing to the ancient woman seated in the floating chair ahead of you. Please, a word with these fools before you destroy them. You have 30 heartbeats, the Enlightened One huffs, apparently very eager to destroy all of you. Voxar bows again, then casts Dimension Door, reappearing just 10 feet away, floating over the darkness between you and the wooden floor of the chamber beyond. You're going to die anyway, but please, what news of my father Lodi's? Voxar politely asks. Did you find him? Is he alive? Well, this is awkward. In the end, you couldn't save Lodi's, his spirit now living on within Queen Delpanna. How do you respond? Choose an option. Half lie, he's still alive. Sort of. Lie, he's very much alive in Ginland. Truth, no, he sacrificed himself. We're so sorry, Representative, but your father sacrificed himself to save the woman he loved, Queen Delpanna, Cartha responds, hanging her head in sorrow. He helped save the entire city of EAA, and even now his spirit is entwined with Delpanna's. You should be very proud of him. Voxar turns from Cartha and looks directly at you, her painful stare hurting you far more than her words ever could. Enraged with your party's response, Voxar's final words to you are as cold as ice. Disintegrate them. Voxar turns to the Enlightened One and nods. In turn, the ancient woman high atop her floating chair allows her spell to descend upon your party. Still crackling with disintegration energy, the black disk soon engulfs all of you. The pain is immediate and intense, not unlike the magical curse that had been encircling the one plant you accidentally dispelled just an hour ago. Your anger toward the inner circle now raging, the pain swallows all of you as your deaths rapidly approach. The party is nearly disintegrated, the spell ends and all of you collapse, barely conscious yet, somehow, still alive. Your heroes look to one another, then find the strength to first rise to your knees before gaining your feet completely, standing tall against impossible odds. As you regain your feet, a collective gasp is heard from all the truistics surrounding you. They have just witnessed something seemingly impossible and they don't know what to think. In that moment of silence and shock, what do you want to say to all the circle members here? Choose an option. Curiosity, why do you let us live? Reason, you must want us alive, then. Spirit, hey, circle, is that all you got? Nearly destroyed by the powerful spell, you throw caution to the wind and directly taunt the inner circle, gaining smiles from both Eswin and Ariana. We should all be dead, Cartha utters, barely able to stand. Some other powerful magic is in play here. What is this? The Enlightened One roars from her floating chair, shocked and enraged. Who dares protect these hooligans from my final judgment? The Enlightened One scans the audience below her, convinced that someone has betrayed the circle. In that awkward, terrifying moment, Let's do a curiosity check on your hero and see what happens. Needing a 14 or less from Janet, a 1 was rolled. Success. Looking about, you spot Redfern standing there, the whites of his eyes consumed in fire now as if he were suddenly possessed. You're not sure how or why, but it seems Redfern has somehow saved your party from the mass disintegration spell. Almost insane with anger, the Enlightened One stands to her feet and summons the most horrific lightning bolt you've ever seen, about to hurl the deadly electricity straight at you. Certainly unable to take another magical beating, you watch in stunned amazement as Redfern steps to the front of the party, his eyes seemingly on fire and walking like a man possessed. The Enlightened One then hurls her bolt of lightning at all of you, its power more than enough to obliterate the party. Yet Redfern simply exposes his right palm and somehow the electricity ricochets away from you, slamming into dozens of nearby tree branches and starting several small fires. Moments later, a whitish glow emanates from Redfern, something seemingly emerging out of him. The ghostly substance quickly coalesces around a young wizard, transforming into something you've seen before, the Angel of Death. Floating there now just a few feet away from Redfern, the ghostly visage of Sandaria appears to be actively protecting the party, which explains how you were able to survive the disintegration spell moments before. The apparent spirit of Sandaria herself, she points directly at the Enlightened One and utters a stern warning. "Stand down, you lying, two-faced, self-serving bitch." "Who, or what, are you?" The Enlightened One demands to know, the two beings now just 30 feet or so apart. "She was once one of us?" A familiar voice calls out. Turning to your right, you can clearly see the old wizard Vel standing there, the truistic who let you go back in Kathleen. The elderly magic user nods in your direction, then turns back to the Enlightened One. "That is the spirit of Sandaria, former representative to the country of Pyrapa. You were always a rebel and deserved your execution at the stake," the Enlightened One responds, clearly no friend of Sandaria. "You should be dead, like this miserable adventuring party. These heroes have more honor and resolve in their hearts than all of you fools combined." Sandaria snaps back, further stunning everyone with her audacity. "You should be thanking them for what they've done instead of trying to destroy them. You're not sure what is more surprising, seeing the spirit of Sandaria again or the possibility that she has become your ally. Let's do a spirit check on your hero and see what comes of that." Needing a 13 or less from Janet, a 4 was rolled. Success. Yes, you definitely sense that something has changed in Sandaria, her need to see the world burn seems to be gone and, given her clear defense of the party, she has become an ally. This party caused a second age of damnation. The Enlightened One almost screams back at Sandaria. Then they neutralized our curse on the one plant, something that took us years to create. They are a bane upon our land and need to be destroyed. At once, virtually all the truistics standing around your party begin to stomp their feet, the noise signifying their complete agreement with the Enlightened One. "It was I who released the Hellions after the Sislans burned me alive," Sandaria cries, accepting blame. "Through this party, I have witnessed great things, even miraculous things. These heroes have the potential to save this world, stop trying to destroy them." Several moments of silence pass, the Enlightened One and Sandaria on the verge of doing battle against one another. The ancient woman atop her floating chair looks about, then slowly sits down again, all eyes glued upon her. "Very well. Is there anyone here willing to speak on behalf of these heroes?" "I for one owe my life to the leader, Janet," a voice calls out, one you haven't heard in a while. Turning around, you spot Representative Margaret standing amongst her fellow truistics, the woman you and Ariana saved from Darius and Rachel back in Tobin. You suspect that Margaret is risking her very life in speaking on behalf of your party, and you nod to her with respect and continued admiration. It is also true that they saved the entire dwarven city of Blue within the Cyan Desert, Voxar surprisingly adds. "I witnessed it all myself, this party isn't all bad. These heroes have always meant well," the old wizard Vel then adds, even he apparently willing to support your party. "Yes, they've made mistakes, but I believe Sandaria is correct, they have potential. Shouldn't we put that potential to our advantage? I would expect such nonsense from you, Vel, the enlightened one responds, unimpressed. But Voxar, and you, Margaret, both of you have always been voices of reason. Let us consider. The whole of the truistic audience gasps again, shocked by the enlightened one's suggestion. Let's do a party intelligence check to see what you know about this considering thing. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 2 was rolled. Success, remember the revelation I had, which helped me recognize the undead trap that would have destroyed all of you back at the Wylex River. Cartha whispers in your ear. A considering is similar, which allows the circle to peer into the future regarding a certain issue or question to see the best course of action. The ritual is incredibly painful, we should be honored that they would do this for us. The several dozen truistics here look to one another, sit down and take each other's hands, closing their eyes and beginning to concentrate. The enlightened one closes her eyes as well, raising her hand to her face in preparation of perhaps the most powerful magic known to the circle. Now, my fellow truistics, the enlightened one begins, already deep in thought. Relax, concentrate, let the magic of all our combined lives' energy center here, focused and unerring. Let us consider. Should this adventuring party be spared in service to the inner circle and our combined greater good? Moments pass, the truistics in deep concentration now and the spell quickly causing them excruciating pain. Suddenly, a massive whirlpool of fire forms in the air near the ceiling of the great wooden dome, slowly rotating like a spiral galaxy. The cold fire magical in nature and hence not burning anything around it, you watch in stunned fascination as a dark void slowly forms within the center of the vortex. Several more seconds pass. Vague images then begin to appear within the dark void, similar to the crystal ball you encountered back within the living chamber of Lodi's west of EAA, visual depictions that, very soon, resemble moments in time involving your adventuring party. The honor score for Janet remains the same, as if watching an old movie. Hundreds of images quickly flash by within the dark void, snapshots of various moments, encounters, dialogues and resolutions your heroes have had since the very beginning of your adventures back in Tobin. While hindsight always helps to better appreciate all the successes and failures along the way, all in all you're pleased with the progress your party has made so far and you feel very proud of everything your party has accomplished. The sequence of images suddenly stop, fixed totally on your party right here, right now, as if the rotating magic above was now a large mirror. Moments later, the images begin again, but this time you don't recognize anything. Your party seems challenged by all sorts of monsters, villains, and tricky situations, potential glimpses into the future that, truth be told, you have no business observing. As the strange, magical movie continues, one thing is certain, your adventures only get harder and more consequential from here. The futuristic images finally stop again, returning to a depiction of the here and now. Again, the dark void above appears as a mirror, focused on your adventuring party. Continuing to watch above, the images within the dark void then depict your party retreating into a tight circle and, for a moment, you spot someone new within the party, a woman with long brown hair you've never seen before. Then, suddenly, violently, and completely, your party releases a burst of magic so incredibly powerful that all the truistics within the Dome of Decisions are instantly defeated, their own powers permanently stripped from them and their bodies left ancient and frail. Yikes, and yikes again. Let's do a quick party wisdom check to determine what you make of what you just witnessed. Needing a 13 or less from your heroes, a 3 was rolled. Success, Janet, there is no doubt about what you've just witnessed. According to the prophetic magic of the circle itself, it appears your party is destined to someday face, defeat, and all but destroy the circle. Naturally, this isn't going to go well for your adventuring party. The magic swirling above your heads quickly fades away and the Dome of Decisions draws silent, the truistics here utterly stunned by the fatal prophecy. A few of the elderly truistics then begin to condemn your party, the outrage and slander quickly reaching a crescendo. Like it or not, you've just become the inner circle's most feared enemy. Truistics. The enlightened one cries out, standing again to her feet and pointing a bony finger at your party. You have all witnessed yourself, if left alive, this party will destroy us all. For such a threat, there can only be one response, death. Annihilate these traitors at once. The Enlightened One then begins a spell, something you know you can't survive twice. Indeed, all about you, the many truistic men and women here are similarly beginning their own spells. You're about to be blasted into oblivion. Severely wounded, nowhere to run and unable to defend yourselves, let's do a curiosity check on your hero to see if you notice anything amidst the chaos. Needing a 14 or less from Janet, a 4 was rolled. Success. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice that the old Wizardbane has not begun any sort of offensive spell. Apparently, he still believes in you. Similarly, neither Representatives Margaret nor even Voxar are doing anything offensive either. At least you will die with a few of the truistics on your side. Your heroes instinctively retreating into a tight group, you watch in amazement as the spirit of Sandaria encircles your party, moving so quickly as to fully envelop all of you with her misty whiteness. You can still see through her spiritual energy, but it seems she's trying to protect you. Dozens of highly offensive spells are then unleashed upon your party, a combination of fire, ice, electricity, poisoned gas, and even disintegration beams. As they strike the milky white aura surrounding your party, however, they are immediately negated. None of it actually harms any of you within the protective aura of Sandaria. The sound and energy of all the destructive spells slamming against Sandaria's anti-magic sphere quickly becomes both blinding and deafening. You can't take any more of this, and your heroes cry out, the experience even worse than the breaking of the Onyx seal. The teleportation lasts just a wild moment or two, and suddenly your party finds itself in some sort of outdoor setting, a dense fog encircling all of you. While nearly killed at the hands of the inner circle just moments ago, your party drops to the ground in fatigue and dizziness. Still critically wounded, you seem to have somehow escaped the magical assault of the circle and now find yourselves, well, somewhere else. At least it's no longer the Dome of Decisions. Let's do a party intelligence check to determine your initial reaction to this new place. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 9 was rolled. Success. Your best guess, gut feeling is that you are far from Sparklewood, the island home of the inner circle, and that Sandaria has teleported you somewhere relatively safe. Speaking of Sandaria, she appears to be gone. There is no trace of the Angel of Death. Of course, that reminds you of Redfern, and you step to his side, the magic user shaking off his own unconsciousness. Apart from his wounds, Redfern seems himself again. How do you wish to interact with him? Choose an option. Curiosity, what happened to you? Empathy, how are you feeling? Spirit, thanks Lyclea, you survived too. By thunder, I've certainly felt better. Redfern responds to you in a daze. I must have blacked out. The Enlightened One, she tried to disintegrate us, that's all I remember. Despite his own grievous wounds, Sandaria steps to Redfern and begins to treat him, the Sislan likely recognizing that without Redfern, and the spirit of Sandaria carried within, all of you would now be dead. Ariana joins the two while Kartha and Eswin step alongside you, each with their own concerns to share. He still does not realize the spirit of Sandaria is within him, Kartha whispers in your ear, the mutant barely conscious herself. She seems our ally now, we should all be dead. At least we've escaped the circle. But for how long? Eswin asks, watching Redfern as well. What's to stop the circle from teleporting us back to them? They're not all powerful, Kartha responds, just as concerned. They're probably scrying for us right now, but it will take them a little time to find us. We need a way to somehow hide ourselves from them. Any idea where we are? Eswin asks, looking about. Unfortunately, the fog here is quite thick, you can barely see 20 feet away. While you can make out a few trees and trampled grass at your feet, that's about it. What's that? Ariana suddenly asks, looking to your right. Drawing her weapon, the young woman cautiously takes 5 or 6 steps forward, her elven side keener in the heavy fog than most. As your heroes instinctively draw together, you watch as Ariana approaches a humanoid figure in the mist. Moments later, she actually stabs into the air, the elf quite surprised. Ariana then relaxes her stance and motions for you to follow. As you reach Ariana, you find some sort of scarecrow next to her, a simple dummy stuffed with straw and not a threat. Examining the strange object, let's do a party curiosity check and see what you deduce. Needing a 11 or less from your heroes, a 14 was rolled. Failure, unfortunately, the dummy has been too damaged, you can't really tell what it is. Moments later, you suddenly feel a long blade at your throat, warning you to not move. Looking about, each of your heroes feel similar blades at their own throats, it appears your party has been surrounded. In the misty darkness, it's hard to tell what manner of creatures have surprised you, they're humanoid, possibly just normal people, but you can't be sure. You are hopelessly surrounded, an old, hoarse, quite accented voice almost whispers from beyond. Drop your weapons, or we will cut you down here and now, choose an option, agree, ask your heroes to stand down, disagree, wildly attack whoever is there. The reason score for Janet remains the same, given how badly hurt all of you are, along with the fact that you know nothing of your sudden captors, you wisely agree to stand down, dropping your weapons and asking your party to do likewise. Given the circumstances, Janet, that was definitely the better choice. We mean you no harm, Cartha begins, the first to speak. Can you tell us where we are? Several anxious moments pass, Cartha's question unanswered. The same old, hoarse voice then whispers again from the dark mists. Who are you, and why are you here? That's a long story, Cartha responds, almost pleading with her voice. But we will tell you anything you want to know, please, stand down. What more would you like to add? Choose an option, charisma, we're better friends than enemies, intelligence, we can offer you many riches, wisdom, take us to your superiors. We're not about to just let you into our city, the voice responds, still unseen. First, we must decide whether or not to let you live. A lone, hooded figure then steps into view, the humanoid just as curious about you as you are with him. In rather dramatic fashion, the person waits a few moments, then slowly pulls down his hood, revealing dark skin and white hair. He's a dark elf. I am Drill Sergeant Fgles and you are my prisoners. One false move and my platoon will cut you down, here in the mud. Choose an option, curiosity, how many dark elves are here? Diplomacy, we humbly defer to your command, honor, you have our word, we will behave. Your word means nothing to us, the dark elf responds, surprisingly irritated. Now, I will ask the questions and you will promptly answer. The drow elf steps closer, eyeing each of you up one at a time. You must be spies. Be quick and tell me, who sent you and why are you here? I don't think you will believe us, Eswin stoically replies. I for one don't know why I am here either. The dark elf sneers, assuming that Eswin is flat out lying. How do you react to Eswin's statement? Choose an option, half lie, our teleporter didn't work right, lie, we took a wrong turn somewhere, truth, we just escaped with our lives. We were about to be slaughtered and quickly teleported away, you add, trying to bring credence to what Eswin just said. We really don't know where we are or why we're here. That's the best you can do? Sergeant Fgles responds, not buying your story in the slightest. You're either very stupid or very unlucky and stupid. This is Grim-Tir, a dark elf stronghold, and we typically execute newcomers to our island, no questions asked. These folks seem about as friendly as the ultimates you just left back in Chagaria. Let's do a party charisma check and see how this plays out. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 1 was rolled. Success, even dark elves value coin I am sure, Cartha responds, knowing exactly what the drow value most. No need for hostilities, set us free, and we can reward you quite handsomely. The dark elf soldier ponders Cartha's offer, then calls out to his fellow elven conscripts, several of them quickly appearing alongside him. Tie them up, lads, good and tight. Well, let Lord Daenzeth decide what to do with them. At least a dozen dark elves then step toward you, retrieving strong rope to ensure you can't defend yourselves. A sudden, horrific cry suddenly shatters the silence, perhaps 100 yards away to your left. The dark elves instinctively react, looking about as a second voice cries out, and then a third. It appears your position is under attack. Another dark elf then appears from out of the fog, his face barely controlling the sheer terror he's feeling inside. It's the old gods. We're under attack. The enemy yet unseen. How do you react to the disturbing news? Choose an option. Altruism. What can we do to help? Curiosity. What threat are we facing? Tolerance. At least let us protect ourselves. This sounds bad, Ariana comments, looking around but addressing Sergeant Fiddles. You're under attack, what can we do to help? Fall back. Sergeant Fiddles yells at the top of his lungs. The gate will be closing. The dark elves surrounding your party nod and quickly they are gone, leaving you alone with Fiddles. The soldier looks to you and utters a quick response. You're on your own. And with that, Sergeant Fiddles turns and dashes away, leaving you alone to fend for yourselves. What do you do? Choose an option. Follow Sergeant Fiddles, stand your ground, trust Ariana's instincts. The spirit score for Janet remains the same. Ariana, what's our play? You ask, the elf by far the best tracker within the party. We're defenseless if we stay here, Ariana returns, already dashing in the same direction as Sergeant Fiddles. Follow me. Rushing through the mists, you sense that whatever is attacking, they are very near, very large and quite monstrous. Several more dark elves scream in terror as you flee, and the ground actually shakes with each step now of these hidden assailants. Sensing that you're running uphill, let's do an intelligence check on Ariana to determine how well she leads you away from the danger. Needing a 13 or less from Ariana, a 9 was rolled. Success. As you hoped, Ariana manages to lead you away from the imminent danger, your party soon passing through the worst of the fog and reaching the main gate of a smaller city fortress beyond. All about you are dozens of frantic dark elves, racing toward the open city gate and trying to flee what appear to be gargantuan, animated trees with glowing red eyes and an almost insane demeanor. Before you can pass through the gate, however, it suddenly closes, barring your way forward. You're not the only ones, several dozen dark elves have also been locked out, screaming in their desperation to be let back in. It appears you will have to face all these monsters now yourselves. Blocked from seeking refuge within the small city beyond, your party turns back toward the approaching tree monsters, some of the dark elves around you drawing their weapons to make a valiant last stand here as well. Indeed, several of the elves slowly step toward you, likely recognizing that they have a better chance standing alongside a strong adventuring party. What are these things? Ariana asks of the closest dark elves. They're the old gods of the forest, here to kill us all. Comes a frantic response. They suck the life out of anyone they capture, so look out. Indeed, as several of the monstrosities approach, a hapless dark elf is grabbed by one, the creature lifting it into the air. As the doomed drow struggles and then screams, you see what appears to be glowing energy pulled from him and drawn into the vegetative monster. Moments later, you watch in horror as the body of the elf suddenly withers as if he were aging decades before your eyes. The old god then drops the husk of the deceased dark elf, the creature apparently sated. Let's do a party curiosity check to see if you learn anything more from the terrible attack. Needing a 11 or less from your heroes, a 8 was rolled. Success. Dark elves live for centuries, Ariana whispers, horrified. The monster just drained him of all his longevity, it's worse than a white's energy drain. Surveying the battlefield here, you can't get past the closed gate into the city and you certainly don't want to return to the fog-laden valley north of you, so you will need to make a stand here. Instinctively, your heroes form a small circle with your backs to one another, a technique that has worked well in the past. Asking for quick advice, then, several of your heroes shout their choice of tactics as the vegetative monstrosities approach. We should keep our distance and let the dark elves fight them. Sainadius initially offers. Let's ally ourselves with the drow and fight these monsters head on. Ariana shouts, Kartha agreeing with her. We can do this ourselves. Eswin counters. These dark elves will only get in our way, choose an option, Ariana, ally with the dark elves, Eswin, attack on your own, Sainadius, let the dark elves fight. Agreeing with Ariana to try and ally with the dark elves, you instruct her to make the attempt amidst all the chaos of the attacking monsters. The young warrior immediately belts out your party's offer in Elven, attempting to draw at least some of the dark elves to your side so you can battle these old gods together. Naturally, we will need to do a charisma check on Ariana to see how this goes. Needing a 14 or less from Ariana, a 7 was rolled. Success. At first the dark elves are dumbfounded by Ariana's request, but a few of them nod in agreement and stand with your party, providing additional strength. Seeing this, another dozen take their place alongside their brethren. Ariana has done it. Similar to how the Feline were able to divide and conquer the attacking Hellions back in Nace, the dark elves here leap into combat with the old gods, separating several away from you and keeping their backs against your back so none of the monsters can flank you or attack from behind. Allying yourselves with the dark elves was definitely the right move. 3 of the vegetative monstrosities step toward your party to attack, several more engaging with the dark elves just behind you. Appearing like treants but even larger and, well, apparently possessed in some way, the creatures seem incredibly angry, as if your party was responsible for the demise of their entire species. Don't let them grab you. Ariana shouts again, warning your party as the old gods attack. Your party is under attack. About to attack your party are 3 cursed treants. It's Murieleth's turn. What do you want her to do? Murieleth casts Lightning Bolt on roughly half of all encountered combatants, electrocuting them. Cursed Treant number 1 is electrocuted for 15 points of damage, needing a 14 or greater. Cursed Treant number 1 rolls a 14 and saves for half damage versus spells. Janet uses a Blink Dog on Cursed Treant number 2, biting it for 1 point of damage for a half hour. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Needing a 50 or less on percentile dice, a 95 is rolled. Failure. Barthal tries to blend into the shadow. Eswin readies his longsword +2 and swings at Cursed Treant number 2, needing a 20 to hit. Die roll is a 20, which is an automatic hit. Eswin hits Cursed Treant number 2, doing 10 points of damage and defeating it. Cursed Treant number 3 attacks Ariana with its fists, needing a 24 to hit. Die roll is a 3, +4 to hit. Cursed Treant number 3 misses Ariana. Cursed Treant number 3, it's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? Redfern uses a Hellhound Pup on Cursed Treant number 3, breathing fire on it for 3 points of damage for a half hour. It's Kartha's turn. What do you want her to do? Kartha casts Spiritual Hammer on Cursed Treant number 3, bashing it for 6 points of damage for 5 minutes. Cursed Treant number 1 attacks Ariana with its fists, needing a 24 to hit. Die roll is a 18, +4 to hit. It's Ariana's turn. What do you want her to do? Ariana readies her longsword +2 and swings at Cursed Treant number 3, needing a 20 to hit. Die roll is a 8. GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with higher values acting first. Sainadius casts Spiritual Hammer on Cursed Treant number 3, bashing it for 2 points of damage for 10 minutes. It's Ariana's turn. What do you want her to do? Ariana readies her longsword +2 and swings at Cursed Treant number 3, needing a 20 to hit. Die roll is a 17, Barthol readies his short sword +1 and swings at Cursed Treant number 1, needing. Marioleth casts Magic Missile on Cursed Treant number 1, striking it with a magic missile for 9 points of damage. It's Redfern's Hellhound Pup's turn. What do you want it to do? Redfern directs his Hellhound Pup at Cursed Treant number 1, breathing fire on it for 2 points of damage and leaving it with 9 hit points. Eswin readies his longsword +2 and swings at Cursed Treant. Cartha readies her mace +1 and swings at Cursed Treant number 1, needing a 20 to hit. Janet directs her Blink Dog at Cursed Treant number 1, biting it for 4 points of damage and leaving it. Sainadius directs his Spiritual Hammer at Cursed Treant number 1, bashing it for 6 points of damage and defeating it. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 354 experience points. The last of the Cursed Treants goes down and your party breathes a huge sigh of relief. About the same time, the remaining Dark Elves finish off the 5 monsters they were fighting as well, a slight breeze replacing the loud din of hard combat. The drow by no means your friends, a few of them at least nod in appreciation of allying with your party, which did make the battle much more survivable, for both sides. Let's reward your party with some bonus experience for choosing to ally with the Dark Elves. Each hero earns 250 experience points. What are those things? Eswin asks as he puts his weapon away and tends to his wounds. They fight with such ferocity. Creatures of the forest, I believe, Cartha answers, unsure. But they are not natural. I think I know what they are, Sainadir states, shaking his head. And Sisla, help us if I am right. All eyes turn toward the Sislan, the cleric sighing deeply before continuing. The large iron gate that had trapped you outside the small city here then swings open, nearly taking you by surprise. About to reveal what he believes the Cursed Treants actually are, Sainadius instead closes his mouth and watches alongside all of you as the gates open fully, the city beyond now accessible. Eswin nods to you to follow, then escorts your party forward, your heroes being careful to not interfere with any of the Dark Elves rushing by as well. Nearly mobbed by the few dozen surviving Dark Elves who want nothing more than to escape back into their protective city, your party briskly steps along the well-used city entrance, passing through the opened gate and into a small courtyard beyond. As most of the elves quickly disappear into the city, you're stopped by several drow wearing black plate armor, holding longswords that are both attractive as well as deadly. One of the elves holds out his hand to stop, indicating that you should halt at once. How do you react? Choose an option. Agree and halt at once, draw weapons and be defensive, ignore them and continue into the city. The honor score for Janet remains the same, wanting to show respect to these Dark Elves and not anger them in any way. You order your party to stop, sheath your weapons and wait for them to speak. One of the drow takes a cautious step toward you, looks all of you over suspiciously, then orders his own troops to lower their weapons as well, apparently calling a truce. You saved a lot of Dark Elves out there, the warrior begins, still suspicious but showing respect. Well, grant you that. The Dark Elf then approaches you to within a few feet, still rather distrustful. We don't take kindly to strangers, normally, you'd be dead by now. But you did just save a lot of lives, so we will let you live, for now. Conduct your business and leave quickly, and know we will be watching your every move. Not exactly a warm welcome to the city. How do you respond? Choose an option. Diplomacy, We won't cause any trouble. Empathy, are they injured we can help. Spirit, we will respect all your rules. We're not here to cause trouble, Kartha insists with a soft smile. Actually, we're a lot like you here, enemies now of the inner circle and on the run. But while we're here, we can treat your sick and injured if you wish. Half our population is sick or injured, the drow warrior responds, not totally believing Kartha's offer. Do what you can for them, I suppose. What were those things attacking outside? Eswin asks, quite concerned. They are the old gods, come to destroy us we think, the dark elf answers, even more concerned than Eswin. Until recently, they were peaceful treants dwelling in the large central forest of our island nation, we left them alone and they left us alone. But something happened to them, they're not just bloodthirsty now but they can literally suck out the very life from all they attack. The old gods? Kartha inquires. Can you tell us more? The drow isn't sure he wants to continue, so we will need to do a party charisma check. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 15 was rolled. Failure, the dark elf looks all of you over again, smirks, then turns to leave, issuing a final message. Like I said, finish your business and leave as soon as possible, you're not welcome here. And with that, the three drow depart, ending the encounter. Standing totally alone within the small city square just beyond the main gate, you can travel to a variety of areas within the city to the southwest, south and southeast, the all-important power tower almost due south in the heart of the city. Note that the main gate leading back outside the city is closed again for now, so you can't actually leave the city anytime soon. You spend a few minutes searching the area. However, you don't find any secret doors or exits. There is nothing hidden here, either. Your party searches for traps but don't find any.